"Get out of my sight, you worthless old hag. You're nothing but a burden in this mansion." The girlfriend's hand trembled with rage as she grabbed the leather belt, her eyes burning with hatred. The elderly woman stumbled backward, tears streaming down her face, begging for mercy. Just as the belt came crashing down with a sickening crack, she didn't know that upstairs, hidden in the shadows, someone was watching everything, and what he was about to do next would destroy her life forever. Before we continue, subscribe for more interesting stories, like and share. Now let's dive into the story. The private jet touched down smoothly at the Lagos International Airport, its sleek white body gleaming under the afternoon sun. Inside, Marcus Okonkwo sat in his leather chair, scrolling through his tablet as his assistant briefed him on the latest merger. At 32, Marcus had built an empire that spanned real estate, tech, and hospitality across 3 continents. Forbes had just named him one of Africa's youngest billionaires, but none of that mattered more to him than family. "Sir, the car is ready," his personal assistant, Chitty, announced as the jet's door opened. Marcus nodded, adjusting his diamond cufflinks. His mind drifted to his mother, Mama Adana, waiting at home. She had raised him alone after his father died when he was 12, working 3 jobs to put him through school. Every success he achieved, every building that bore his name, was a testament to her sacrifice. As the convoy of black SUVs pulled away from the airport, Marcus dialed his girlfriend, Zara. The phone rang 4 times before she answered. "Baby, you're back already?" Her voice was sweet, almost too sweet, like honey laced with something bitter. "Just landed. I'm heading home now. Can't wait to see you," Marcus said, smiling. "Oh, that's great. I'm just running a few errands. I'll be home soon. Okay? Love you." The line went dead before he could respond. Marcus frowned slightly but dismissed it. Zara was probably shopping again. She loved luxury, and he loved spoiling her. They'd been together for 8 months, and though his mother had expressed concerns, Marcus believed Zara would eventually warm up to her. His phone buzzed with a notification. A photo from Zara on Instagram, posted just 2 minutes ago. She was at a high-end boutique, surrounded by shopping bags, her arms draped around 2 friends. The caption read, "Living my best life. #blessed #luxury lifestyle." Marcus chuckled and shook his head. She hadn't mentioned shopping when he called. He made a mental note to surprise her with something special tonight. The convoy arrived at his mansion in Lekki, a sprawling estate with manicured gardens, a fountain, and security that rivaled a fortress. As Marcus stepped out, the head of his household staff, Mr. Emeka, greeted him with a respectful bow. "Welcome home, sir. Mama is in the garden." "Thank you, Emeka. How has she been?" Mr. Emeka hesitated, his weathered face tightening. "She is well, sir. But—" he paused, choosing his words carefully. "She has been quiet." Marcus noticed the concern in the old man's eyes but didn't press further. He walked through the grand entrance, past the marble floors and gold-trimmed walls, until he reached the back garden where his mother sat on a wooden bench, tending to her roses. "Mama!" Marcus called out, his face lighting up. Mama Adana looked up, her lined face breaking into a warm smile. She was a petite woman in her late 60s, her hair wrapped in a traditional headscarf. Despite living in a mansion, she still preferred her simple wrappers and blouses. "My son, you're home." She stood and embraced him tightly. "How was your trip?" "Successful, Mama. Closed the deal in Dubai. But I missed you." They sat together and for a few moments, everything felt right. But then Mama Adana's smile faded. "Marcus, we need to talk about Zara." Marcus sighed. "Mama, please, not again. My son, I am your mother. I carried you for 9 months. I know when something is wrong." Her voice was gentle but firm. "That girl. She is not who you think she is. Mama, she's just adjusting. She's from a different background. Give her time." Mama Adana shook her head slowly. "It's not about background, my son. It's about character. The way she looks at me, the way she speaks when you're not around. Something isn't right. Marcus felt torn. He loved his mother deeply, but he also believed in giving people a chance. Mama, I promise, everything will be fine. Trust me. But even as he said the words, a small voice in the back of his mind whispered doubt. Across town, Zara sat in the VIP section of one of Lagos's most exclusive lounges, surrounded by her friends. The table was littered with champagne bottles, designer handbags, and the latest iPhones. Music pounded through the speakers as she threw her head back, laughing at something her friend, Kemi, had just said. "Girl, you're living the dream," Kemi shouted over the music. "A billionaire boyfriend who worships the ground you walk on? You've hit the jackpot." Zara smirked, twirling her glass. "Please, it's not just luck. It's strategy. You have to know how to play these rich men. They're so easy to manipulate." Her other friend, Toyin, leaned in with wide eyes. "But what about his mother? I heard she lives with you guys." Zara's face twisted in disgust. "Ugh. Don't even get me started on that old woman. She's so local, so bush. Always wearing those ugly wrappers, cooking with her bare hands like we're in some village. It's embarrassing." The girls erupted in laughter. Wait, Kemi said, wiping tears from her eyes. "You mean to tell me you're living in a mansion with a billionaire, and his mother is there acting like a housewife from 1952? "Exactly," Zara hissed. "And she has the audacity to try to correct me. Me? Like, who does she think she is? Just because she squeezed out a rich son doesn't make her special." Toyin gasped dramatically. "What does Marcus say?" Zara waved her hand dismissively. "Marcus is blind when it comes to her. He thinks she's some saint. But trust me, once we're married, that old bat is going to a nursing home. I'm not spending my life playing daughter-in-law to some illiterate old woman." The table erupted in more laughter and clinking glasses. Zara pulled out her phone and snapped a selfie, pouting her lips and tilting her head just right. Within seconds, she uploaded it with the caption, "Good vibes only. Hashtag billionaire lifestyle, hashtag unbothered." Her phone buzzed almost immediately. Marcus had liked the photo and commented with a heart emoji. "See," Zara showed her friends. "He's so predictable. As long as I look good and act sweet when he's around, he'll give me whatever I want." "But what if he finds out how you really feel about his mother?" Toyin asked cautiously. Zara's eyes hardened. "He won't. I'm too smart for that. Besides, what's he going to do? Choose his old, tired mother over me? Please. Men like Marcus need women like me. Young, beautiful, sophisticated. That old woman is just baggage." As the night wore on, Zara danced, drank, and flaunted her lifestyle to everyone watching. She posted stories every hour, designer shoes, expensive meals, luxury cars. Her followers ate it up, flooding her comments with praise and envy. But beneath the glittering surface, Zara was calculating. She had her eyes on Marcus's wealth, his properties, his status. The mother was just an obstacle, one she planned to remove as soon as she secured her position. Little did she know, her perfect facade was about to crack. That evening, back at the mansion, Mama Adana sat in the living room, her Bible open on her lap. She had tried to pray, but her spirit was troubled. Something dark had entered her home, and she could feel it. The sound of heels clicking on marble announced Zara's arrival. She swept into the room, barely acknowledging Mama Adana as she headed toward the stairs. "Good evening, my daughter," Mama Adana said softly. Zara stopped mid-step and turned slowly, her smile forced. "Good evening, Mama. Will you sit with me for a moment?" Zara's jaw tightened, but she plastered on her sweetest expression. "Of course, Mama, but I can't stay long. I have to prepare for Marcus." She sat on the edge of the couch, her body language screaming impatience. Mama Adana studied her carefully. "I wanted to talk to you about the house. I know this is a big change for you, living here with us. If there's anything you need, anything that would make you more comfortable." "Oh, Mama, everything is perfect," Zara interrupted, her voice dripping with false enthusiasm. "You've been so accommodating. The way she said accommodating made it sound like an insult. Mama Adana pressed on gently. I also wanted to say, if you ever need help with anything, cooking, managing the house, I'm here. I raised Marcus in much harder times. I know how to make a home warm. Zara's smile tightened. That's very kind, Mama. But I think I can handle it. After all, I'm going to be the woman of this house soon. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Before Mama Adana could respond, Zara stood. I really must go now. Marcus will be home soon, and I need to look perfect for him. She emphasized the word perfect, while giving Mama Adana's simple attire a pointed look. As Zara walked away, Mama Adana's heart grew heavy. She had seen this type of woman before, beautiful on the outside, rotten on the inside. Later that night, after Marcus had eaten dinner and Zara had retreated to their bedroom, Mama Adana called her son to the veranda. Marcus, sit with me. He sat beside her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. What's troubling you, Mama? It's Zara. I don't trust her. Marcus sighed deeply. Mama. No, listen to me. Her voice was urgent now. A woman who truly loves you will respect the people you love. But that girl, she looks at me with contempt. She speaks to the staff with cruelty. This is not the behavior of a good woman. Mama, you're being too hard on her. She's young. She's adjusting. Age is not an excuse for wickedness. Mama Adana's eyes filled with tears. My son, I am begging you. Open your eyes before it's too late. That girl does not love you. She loves your money. Marcus felt anger rising in his chest, not at his mother, but at the situation. Mama, I appreciate your concern, but I'm a grown man. I can handle my own relationships. Mama Adana's shoulders sagged in defeat. I have said my own. When trouble comes, don't say I didn't warn you. She stood and walked slowly back into the house, leaving Marcus alone with his thoughts. For a long time he sat there, staring at the stars. His mother had never been wrong before, but he had invested so much in Zara, emotionally, financially. Could he really have been so blind? Upstairs, through the window, he could see Zara's silhouette as she laughed on the phone, her voice carrying faintly through the night. Something twisted in his gut. Maybe, just maybe, his mother was right. The morning sun filtered through the mansion's tall windows, casting golden rays across the pristine marble floors. Mama Adana woke up early, as she always did, and made her way to the kitchen. Despite having a full household staff, she enjoyed preparing breakfast for her son. It was her way of showing love. She hummed an old Igbo hymn as she chopped vegetables for yam porridge, Marcus's favorite. The aroma of palm oil and spices filled the kitchen, creating a warmth that the mansion's cold elegance often lacked. What are you doing? Mama Adana turned to find Zara standing in the doorway, wearing a silk nightgown that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. Her face was twisted in annoyance. Good morning, my daughter. I'm making breakfast for Marcus, Mama Adana said with a gentle smile. At 6 in the morning? The noise woke me up. Zara's voice was sharp, cutting. Don't we pay staff to do this? I don't mind. I enjoy cooking for my son. Zara rolled her eyes dramatically. Well, I mind. This is supposed to be a modern home, not some village compound. If you want to cook, do it quietly. Before Mama Adana could respond, Zara spotted the ingredients spread across the counter. And what is that smell? So pungent. Can't you make something normal? Like pancakes or French toast? Marcus loves yam porridge. His father used to. I don't care what his dead father used to eat, Zara snapped. Things are different now. We have standards in this house. The words hit Mama Adana like a slap. She felt her hands tremble, but she kept her composure. I will try to be quieter. Good. And another thing. Zara walked to the refrigerator and pulled out a bottle of imported water. Tell the staff to stop putting my clothes with yours in the laundry. I don't want my designer pieces contaminated by whatever you wear. She took a sip of water and looked Mama Adana up and down with disgust before walking away, her heels clicking aggressively against the floor. Mama Adana stood alone in the kitchen, her eyes burning with unshed tears. She continued cooking, but her hands moved mechanically now, the joy drained from the task. By the door, hidden from view, the head housekeeper, Patience, had witnessed everything. She clenched her fists, anger boiling in her chest. This wasn't the first time she'd seen Zara disrespect Mama Adana, but each incident was worse than the last. Later that morning, Patience wasn't the only one who noticed. Marcus had left for an emergency board meeting, and Zara transformed. She lounged in the living room, barking orders like a tyrannical queen. "You there, Patience," Zara called out, not bothering to look up from her phone. "This coffee is cold. Make another one. And this time, don't mess it up." "But madam, I made it only 5 minutes ago. Are you talking back to me?" Zara's eyes flashed dangerously. "Do you know who I am? I'm about to be Mrs. Okonkwo. If you value your job, you'll do as I say without question." Patience swallowed her pride and took the cup. As she turned to leave, Zara added, "And tell that old woman to stay out of sight. I'm expecting guests this afternoon, and I don't want them seeing her walking around like some village auntie." In the kitchen, Patience found Mama Adana washing dishes despite the dishwasher being empty. "Mama, you don't have to do this. Please, rest," Patience pleaded. "I need to keep my hands busy, my dear. Otherwise, I'll think too much." Mama Adana's voice was tired, defeated. Patience's heart broke. She pulled out her phone and stepped into the pantry, dialing the one person who needed to know what was happening. "Mr. Emeka? It's Patience. We need to talk about what's happening in this house. It's getting worse." Marcus sat in his glass-walled office on the 40th floor of Okonkwo Towers, overlooking the sprawling city of Lagos. The board meeting had ended an hour ago, but he couldn't focus on the contracts in front of him. His mother's words from the previous night echoed in his mind. "That girl does not love you. She loves your money." He shook his head, trying to dismiss the thought. But doubt had planted its seed, and it was growing. His phone rang, private number. He answered immediately. "Sir, this is Mr. Emeka." Marcus sat up straight. His head of staff never called unless something was seriously wrong. "What is it, Emeka?" There was a pause, heavy with meaning. "Sir, with all due respect, you need to come home. Your mother, she doesn't look happy." "What do you mean? Is she sick? Did something happen?" "No, sir, she's not sick. But—" Emeka struggled to find the right words. "The atmosphere in this house has changed. The staff, we see things. And we're concerned about Mama Adana's well-being." Marcus's grip tightened on the phone. "Emeka, speak plainly. What's going on?" "Sir, it's not my place to say too much over the phone, but I've worked for your family for 15 years. I've never seen Mama this broken. Please, sir, just come home. See for yourself." The line went dead. Marcus stared at his phone, his mind racing. Emeka was not a man given to exaggeration or drama. If he was calling, something was genuinely wrong. He buzzed his assistant. "Chitty, clear my schedule for the rest of the day. I'm going home." "But sir, you have a meeting with the Chinese investors at 4. Reschedule it. Family emergency." 20 minutes later, Marcus's convoy was speeding through Lagos traffic. His mind went to Zara. Could she really be treating his mother poorly? She always seemed so sweet when he was around, always affectionate, always attentive. But then he remembered small things he'd dismissed. The way Zara's smile would fade when his mother entered the room. How she'd always find excuses to avoid family dinners. The subtle eye rolls when his mother spoke. He pulled out his phone and opened Instagram. Zara's latest post was from 2 hours ago. A photo of her in the mansion's living room, designer sunglasses on, champagne glass in hand. The caption read, "Living my truth. No fake people in my circle. #authentic living, #boss lady." Something about it felt wrong, almost mocking. Marcus scrolled through her previous posts. Every single one was about luxury, money, status. Not one mentioned family, love, or anything of substance. It was all surface, all show. How had he not seen this before? His phone buzzed. A text from Zara. "Baby, when are you coming home? Miss you so much." Red heart, red heart, red heart. 3 heart emojis. She never used emojis unless she wanted something. Marcus didn't reply. Instead, he forwarded the message to Chitty with a note. Check our security camera access. I want to be able to view the house feeds remotely. Within minutes, Chitty sent back login credentials. Marcus hesitated, his finger hovering over the app icon. Was he really going to spy on his own home? On his own girlfriend? But then he thought of his mother's face, the sadness in her eyes, the warning in her voice. He opened the app. The mansion had cameras in every common area: living room, kitchen, hallways, gardens. He scrolled through the feeds until he found the living room. What he saw made his blood run cold. Zara was sprawled across the couch, 3 friends around her, bottles of his most expensive whiskey on the table. They were laughing loudly, music blasting. One of her friends was trying on jewelry from his mother's collection, pieces that held deep sentimental value. And there, in the corner of the screen, he saw his mother. She was carrying a tray, clearly being ordered to serve the guests. Her head was bowed, her movements slow and tired. Zara said something Marcus couldn't hear, and all the women burst into laughter. His mother flinched. Rage, pure and hot, flooded through Marcus's veins. "Driver, faster," he commanded, his voice deadly calm. Mr. Emeka had been right. Something was very, very wrong in his house, and he was about to find out just how wrong. Back at the mansion, the afternoon had descended into chaos that Mama Adana never could have imagined. Zara's friends had been there for 3 hours, drinking, laughing, and treating the home like their personal playground. They'd raided Marcus's wine cellar, tried on expensive watches, and taken countless selfies in every corner of the mansion. Mama Adana had retreated to her room, hoping to avoid the madness, but Zara had other plans. "Mama! Mama!" Zara's shrill voice echoed through the hallway. Mama Adana emerged from her room, her heart already sinking. "Yes, my daughter? Don't my daughter me," Zara snapped, her eyes glassy from alcohol. "My friends want snacks. Go to the kitchen and prepare something. And make it fast, we don't have all day." "But Zara, there's Patience and the other staff." "I didn't ask about the staff. I'm asking you. Or are you too good to serve in your own son's house?" The friends giggled from the living room, watching the exchange like it was entertainment. Mama Adana's pride warred with her desire for peace. Finally, she nodded and walked toward the kitchen, her steps heavy. For the next hour, she prepared platters of food, small chops, spring rolls, fruit arrangements. Her arthritic hands ached, but she pushed through. When she brought the food to the living room, Zara barely glanced at it. "Ugh, what is this? This looks so local. Don't we have caviar? Imported cheese? Something sophisticated. I made what we had available. This is embarrassing." Zara stood up, swaying slightly. "How am I supposed to impress my friends with this village food?" One of her friends, clearly uncomfortable, tried to intervene. "Zara, it actually looks good." "Shut up, Kemi. You don't understand. This woman is trying to sabotage me. She's always been jealous that her son chose me over her." Mama Adana's eyes widened. "That's not true. Don't lie to me." Zara's voice rose to a scream. "You've been against me from day one, always whispering in Marcus's ear, trying to turn him against me. I have never. Get out of my sight. This is my house now, and you're just a guest. Actually, no, you're less than a guest. You're a burden." The words hung in the air like poison. Mama Adana felt something break inside her. Tears streamed down her face. "How can you speak to me this way? I am your elder. I am Marcus's mother. I don't care who you are." Zara moved closer, her finger jabbing the air. "When I marry Marcus, you're gone. You hear me? Gone. I'll put you in the cheapest nursing home I can find, and you can rot there with the other useless old people." The friends had gone silent now, shock replacing their earlier amusement.
Mama Adana's legs trembled.
She reached for the wall to steady herself, her breath coming in short gasps. You are a wicked child," she whispered. "God will judge you." "Oh, Save your village superstitions. Zara laughed cruelly. Your god isn't going to do anything. I have money, beauty, and power now. What do you have? Nothing but old age and irrelevance. Mama Adana turned to walk away, but Zara wasn't finished. And one more thing, stay out of Marcus's room tonight. Actually, stay out of this entire wing of the house. I don't want to see your face. The sight of you makes me sick. Something in Zara's eyes had changed. The mask had completely slipped away. What remained was pure, unadulterated malice. Mama Adana stumbled to her room, closed the door, and collapsed on her bed, sobbing. In all her years, through poverty, widowhood, and struggle, she had never been treated with such contempt. She prayed through her tears, asking God for strength, for wisdom, for deliverance. Outside her door, Patience stood with clenched fists, having heard everything. She pulled out her phone and typed a quick message to Mr. Emeka. It's getting dangerous.
Madam Zara threatened Mama.
We need to tell Oga Marcus now. The response came immediately. I already called him. He's on his way home. In the living room, Zara poured herself another drink, completely unaware that her perfect world was about to come crashing down. Marcus sat in the back of his Mercedes G-Wagon. His jaw clenched so tight it ached. The traffic on Lekki Ape Expressway seemed intentionally slow, as if the universe was testing his patience. Every few seconds, he glanced at his phone, watching the security camera feeds. What he saw made his stomach turn. Zara and her friends were now dancing in the living room, completely drunk, knocking over expensive vases and laughing about it. His mother was nowhere to be seen on the cameras, which worried him even more. He leaned forward to his driver, Kunal, who had been with him for 7 years. Kunal, I need you to do something for me. Yes, sir, anything. When we get to the house, don't announce our arrival. Park outside the gate. I want to enter quietly. Kunal's eyes met Marcus's in the rearview mirror. There was understanding there. He'd suspected something was wrong for weeks. Understood, sir. Marcus then called his personal assistant. Chitty, I need you to do something discreet. I'm listening, sir. Pull all the CCTV footage from the house for the past 2 weeks. Everything. And I want you to check our credit card statements, specifically the cards I gave Zara. I want to see every transaction. There was a brief pause. Sir, are you sure? This seems. Just do it, Chitty. Send everything to my private email within the hour. Yes, sir. Marcus ended the call and dialed Mr. Emeka. Sir, thank God you called back. Emeka, listen to me carefully. I'm 15 minutes away. I want you to make sure all the security cameras are recording properly. Don't let anyone know I'm coming, especially not Zara. Sir, there's something you need to know. It's gotten worse since I called. Miss Zara, she threatened Mama, told her she was going to put her in a nursing home. The staff heard everything. Marcus closed his eyes, pain and fury washing over him in equal measure. His mother, the woman who had sacrificed everything for him, was being terrorized in his own home. Where is my mother now? In her room, sir. She's been crying for the past hour. Patience tried to comfort her, but Mama won't open the door. And Zara? Still in the living room with her friends. They're very drunk, sir. They've been going through your wine collection, wearing your watches, taking pictures with your awards. It's disrespectful, sir. Very disrespectful. Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. This wasn't just about his mother anymore. This was about betrayal, manipulation, and a complete lack of respect for everything he'd built. Emeka, I want you to gather all the staff in the kitchen when I arrive. Tell them to stay there and remain quiet. Can you do that? Yes, sir. But sir, what are you planning? Justice, Emeka. I'm planning justice. As the car approached the estate, Marcus's phone buzzed with an email from Chitty. The subject line read, You need to see this. He opened the attachment, a detailed breakdown of Zara's spending over the past 8 months. His eyes widened as he scrolled through the numbers. 45 million Nigerian nairas on designer clothes and jewelry. 12 million Nigerian nairas at exclusive clubs and restaurants. 8 million Nigerian nairas in cash withdrawals with no explanation. 15 million Nigerian nairas transferred to accounts he didn't recognize. But what shocked him most was a series of hotel charges. Luxury suites in Victoria Island, booked on days when she told him she was visiting her sick aunt in Abuja. His hands trembled as he opened the CCTV footage Chitty had compiled. He watched, his heart breaking with each clip. Zara mocking his mother's traditional clothes to the staff. Zara ordering his mother to clean up after her friends. Zara laughing as she showed her friends his mother's photo, calling her the old fossil. Zara on the phone with someone, saying, "Once we're married, I'll convince him to sell some properties. We can split the money, baby. He's so stupid, he'll never know." Marcus felt physically ill. The woman he'd loved, trusted, planned a future with. She was a complete stranger. Parasite. Predator. The car stopped outside the gate. "Sir, we're here," Connell said quietly. Marcus looked up at his mansion. The home he'd built with his hard-earned money. The place where he'd hoped to build a family. Now it felt contaminated. "Connell, I want you to stay in the car. Keep the engine running. We might need to leave quickly." "Sir, just trust me." Marcus stepped out of the car and walked toward the pedestrian gate. His security team started to salute, but he raised a finger to his lips, signaling silence. They understood immediately and let him through. As he approached the front door, he could hear music blasting from inside, along with loud, drunken laughter. His mother's home turned into a nightclub. He pulled out his phone and sent one final text to Chitty. "Call the police. Tell them I may need them at my residence within the hour. Possible assault and theft." Then he put his phone on record and slipped it into his breast pocket, the camera facing outward. Marcus took a deep breath, his hand on the door handle. Whatever happened next would change everything. Inside the mansion, Zara was having the time of her life. The alcohol had loosened her completely, and she no longer cared about maintaining any pretense of decency. "Ladies, ladies," she called out, standing on the Italian leather couch in her heels. "Let me show you the real prize." She stumbled toward Marcus's private study, a room he'd specifically asked her never to enter without permission. She pushed open the door with dramatic flair. Behold, the billionaire's man cave. Her three friends, Kemi, Toyin, and Bunmi, followed her in, gasping at the luxury. The walls were lined with first-edition books, African art worth millions, and shelves displaying awards and honors from around the world. "Is that real gold?" Bunmi asked, pointing at a sculpture. "Everything in this house is real, darling. Marcus doesn't do fake, except when it comes to reading people." Zara laughed at her own joke. She walked to his desk and opened a drawer, pulling out a velvet box. Inside was a diamond watch worth more than most cars. "Oh my God, Zara, you can't just..." Kemi started. "Can't what? This is practically mine already. Once we're married, everything he owns is mine." She fastened the watch on her wrist, admiring it. Toyin, the quietest of the group, looked increasingly uncomfortable. "Zara, maybe we should go. This doesn't feel right. And the way you spoke to his mother earlier." "Oh, please." Zara waved dismissively. That old woman needed to be put in her place. She's been walking around here like she owns something. This is my house now. "But it's not," Toyin said softly. "It's Marcus's house, and she's his mother." Zara's eyes flashed dangerously. "Whose side are you on?" "I'm not on anyone's side. I'm just saying. Then maybe you should leave. If you can't handle how I run my relationship." There's the door. An awkward silence fell over the room. Toyin looked at Kemi and Bunmi, hoping for support, but they avoided her gaze. "Fine," Toyin said quietly, grabbing her purse. "I'm going. This is wrong, Zara, and it's going to end badly. Bye, Felicia," Zara called out mockingly as Toyin left. But Toyin's departure had planted a seed of unease in the room. The party atmosphere had dampened. "You know what?" Zara announced, trying to revive the energy. "Let's take photos. This study is perfect for Instagram." They spent the next 20 minutes posing with Marcus's awards, sitting in his chair, pretending to smoke his expensive cigars. Zara posted everything on her Instagram story with captions like, CEO behavior and living in luxury. What she didn't know was that Marcus had alerts set up for any entry into his study. His phone had pinged the moment she'd opened the door, and he was watching everything. In the kitchen, Mama Adana had finally emerged from her room, drawn by thirst and the need to take her blood pressure medication. She found Patience and the other staff members huddled together, whispering urgently. "Mama, you shouldn't be here," Patience said quickly. Madam said, "I don't care what she said. This is my son's house, and I will get water if I'm thirsty." Just then, they heard Zara's voice screaming from the living room. "Where's that old woman? I told her to stay out of my sight." Mama Adana's hands trembled as she poured water into a glass. The staff watched her with pity and anger. Anger at Zara, pity for Mama's situation. "Mama," Mr. Emeka called Olga Marcus. Patience whispered. "He's coming home." Mama Adana looked up sharply. "When?" "We don't know, but soon." A mixture of hope and fear crossed Mama Adana's face. She didn't want her son to see her like this, broken and humiliated. But she also desperately needed him to see the truth about the woman he planned to marry. From the living room, Zara's voice rang out again. "I said, where is SHE?" The staff exchanged worried glances. "Maybe you should go back to your room, Mama," Mr. Emeka suggested gently. "Just until Olga Marcus arrives." But before Mama Adana could move, Zara appeared in the kitchen doorway, her eyes wild with alcohol and rage. "There you are. Didn't I tell you to stay in your room? I came to get water. I don't care what you came for. This is MY Kitchen. My house, my rules." Zara advanced on her, and the staff instinctively moved to shield Mama Adana. "Madam, please," Mr. Emeka said firmly. "This is not right." "Oh, so now the servants are talking back to me too? You're all fired. Every single one of you. You can't fire us," Patience said boldly. "You're not our employer. Olga Marcus is." Zara's face contorted with fury. "How dare you speak to me like that?" She grabbed a glass from the counter and threw it. It shattered against the wall, missing Mama Adana by inches. The kitchen went silent. Mama Adana stared at the broken glass, then at Zara, and something shifted in her eyes. She was no longer afraid. She was done. "You are a devil," Mama Adana said quietly. "A beautiful devil. But my son will see you for what you are." "Your son is a fool who I've wrapped around my finger," Zara screamed. "And when I'm done with him, I'll take half of everything he owns and leave him with nothing. Just like I'm going to leave you with nothing." What none of them knew was that Marcus was standing just outside the kitchen door, his phone still recording. He had heard everything, and his heart had turned to stone. Marcus stood frozen in the hallway, his entire world crumbling around him. The woman's voice he was hearing, cruel, venomous, calculating, couldn't possibly be the same sweet Zara who'd whispered, "I love you," just yesterday. But it was. He'd heard her confess to using him, to planning to divorce him and take his money, to wanting to abandon his mother in a nursing home. Every word was a knife to his heart. But he didn't move yet. Something told him to wait, to see just how deep her wickedness went. In the kitchen, Zara had grabbed a wooden serving spoon from the counter. She was completely unhinged now, all pretense of civility gone. "You think you can curse me, old woman? You think your village juju can touch me? I didn't curse you. Shut up." Zara raised the spoon and brought it down hard on the counter, making everyone jump. "I'm so tired of your face, your voice, your entire existence." Mr. Emeka stepped fully in front of Mama Adana. "Madam Zara, you need to stop. You're drunk. You should rest. Don't tell me what to do." Zara shoved him, but the elderly man barely budged. The other staff members had pulled out their phones, recording everything. They knew this had gone too far, and they needed evidence to protect themselves and Mama Adana. Bunmi and Kemi appeared in the doorway, finally sensing that things had spiraled out of control. "Zara, let's go," Kemi said nervously. "I think we should leave. This is getting crazy." I'm not going anywhere. This is my house. It's not, though, Bunmi said quietly. And I think we should really go before Marcus comes home. At the mention of Marcus's name, Zara laughed. A high, manic sound. Marcus isn't coming home until tonight. He has meetings all day. I checked his calendar. We have hours before he. Before I what? The voice came from the doorway, cold and deadly calm. Everyone froze. Zara spun around, the spoon still in her hand, her face flushed from alcohol and rage. Marcus stood there, still in his business suit, his face completely emotionless. But his eyes burned with a fury that made everyone take a step back. Marcus, baby, you're home early. Zara's transformation was instant. The spoon clattered to the floor as she plastered on a smile and moved toward him. What a wonderful surprise. Don't. His voice stopped her mid-step. Don't come near me. Baby, what's wrong? I can explain. Explain what? Explain how you were about to attack my mother with a spoon? Explain how you just confessed to using me for my money? Explain how you plan to divorce me and take half of everything I've built. His voice rose with each question. Explain what, Zara? Her face went pale. You heard. Marcus pulled his phone from his pocket and held it up. I heard everything, and I recorded it. Every single word. Zara's friends quietly tried to slip out, but Marcus's voice stopped them. Kemi, Bunmi, stay exactly where you are. The police will want to talk to all of you. Police! Zara's voice cracked. Marcus, please, let me explain. I was drunk. I didn't mean. You didn't mean to throw a glass at my 70-year-old mother? You didn't mean to threaten her? You didn't mean to steal from me? Lie to me? Use me? Marcus walked past her without a glance and went straight to his mother. When he saw her face, tear-stained, terrified, exhausted, something broke inside him. He knelt before her and took her hands. Mama, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. Mama Adana touched his face gently. My son, I should have protected you. I should have believed you. I failed you. You're here now, she whispered. That's what matters. Behind them, Zara was frantically trying to salvage the situation. Marcus, please. I love you. I was just upset. I had too much to drink. Marcus stood and turned to face her. The look in his eyes made her take a step back. You don't know what love is, he said quietly. Love doesn't abuse. Love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't threaten elderly women. You're not capable of love, Zara. You're only capable of greed. That's not true. I do love you. Then why did you tell your friends you were going to take half my money and leave me with nothing? Why did you book hotel rooms on my credit card while telling me you were visiting your sick aunt? Why did you spend 80 million Nigerian nairas of my money in 8 months without telling me? With each question, Zara's face grew more panicked. She realized he knew everything. I can change, she cried. Please, Marcus. Give me another chance. I'll be better, I promise. Marcus looked at her with something close to pity. The only thing I'm giving you is a police escort out of my house. And then, I'm giving you a lawsuit. For theft, for assault, for elder abuse, and for fraud. You can't do this to me. Watch me. As if on cue, sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Zara's perfect world was about to shatter completely, and Marcus was going to make sure everyone knew exactly who she really was. 20 minutes earlier, before Marcus had arrived, the situation in the kitchen had reached a boiling point that would change everything. Zara stood in the center of the kitchen, her chest heaving with rage, her eyes wild and unfocused from the combination of expensive champagne and cheap anger. The wooden spoon she'd grabbed had clattered to the floor, but her hands were already searching for something else. Something that would make a bigger statement. Her eyes landed on the leather belt hanging on the hook near the pantry door. One of Marcus's expensive designer belts that he'd left there after a casual Sunday brunch weeks ago. You know what? Zara said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper as she walked toward the belt. I've been too nice to you, too patient. too tolerant of your pathetic existence in my house. Madam, please. Mr. Emeka tried to intervene, but Zara whipped around, pointing a manicured finger at him. If you say one more word, I'll make sure Marcus fires you today. Do you understand me? The elderly man's jaw clenched, but he remained silent, his eyes pleading with Mama Adana to just leave the kitchen. But Mama Adana stood her ground. Something in her had shifted. After months of enduring insults, condescension, and cruelty, she'd reached her limit. This is not your house, Mama Adana said quietly, her voice trembling but firm. This house belongs to my son. I lived in poverty to make sure he could build this life. I sold my jewelry, my clothes, everything I had to send him to school. What have you sacrificed? Nothing. You are just a parasite feeding on his success. The kitchen went deathly silent. Zara's face transformed into something inhuman. Pure, undiluted hatred, contorting her beautiful features into a mask of rage. What did you just call me? She whispered, her voice dripping with venom. A parasite, Mama Adana repeated, straightening her shoulders despite her trembling hands. And my son will see it soon enough. You cannot hide your true nature forever. You old, stupid, illiterate woman, Zara screamed, grabbing the belt from the hook. I'll teach you to respect me. Madam, no. Patience rushed forward, but Kemi and Bunmi held her back, their faces pale with shock. Stay out of this, Zara warned. Then she advanced on Mama Adana, the belt raised high. I'm going to beat the village out of you. The first strike came down across Mama Adana's shoulder with a sickening crack. The old woman cried out, stumbling backward against the counter. Please. Mama Adana raised her hands to protect herself. Please, my daughter, stop. I'm not your daughter. Another strike, this time across Mama Adana's back. I'm your nightmare. The belt came down again and again. Mama Adana crumpled to the floor, her traditional wrapper twisting around her legs as she tried to shield herself. Somebody stop her. Patience screamed, tears streaming down her face. Mr. Emeka moved to intervene, but Zara turned the belt on him. Stay back, or you're next. The staff stood frozen, torn between their duty to protect Mama Adana and their fear of this woman who had completely lost control. Mama Adana's cries filled the kitchen. Not just cries of pain, but cries of heartbreak. This was the woman her son planned to marry. This was the woman who was supposed to be family. Please, Mama Adana sobbed, curled on the floor. In the name of God, please stop. Your God can't help you. Zara raised the belt again. But this time, Bunmi's conscience won over her fear. She pulled out her phone and started recording. Zara, stop. You're going to kill her. Bunmi's voice cracked, but Zara was beyond reason. She brought the belt down one more time, this time catching Mama Adana across the face. Blood trickled from the old woman's lip. That's when something shifted in the house. An energy, a presence. None of them knew that Marcus had just walked through the front door. None of them knew that he was standing in the hallway, listening to his mother's cries. None of them knew that the next 60 seconds would destroy Zara's entire world. In the kitchen, Zara stood over Mama Adana's crumpled form, breathing heavily, the belt dangling from her hand. She looked down at the broken woman and felt nothing. No remorse. No guilt. Just satisfaction. Maybe now you'll learn your place, she spat. Mama Adana didn't respond. She just lay there, tears mixing with blood on her weathered face, praying silently for deliverance. And outside the kitchen door, her prayer was about to be answered. Marcus stood in his own hallway like a stranger in a foreign land. The sounds coming from his kitchen. His mother's cries, Zara's venomous words, the crack of leather against flesh, seemed impossible, like something from a nightmare. But it was real. His hand was already on his phone, the recording app capturing everything. But part of him refused to believe what he was hearing. Part of him still hoped this was a misunderstanding, a mistake, anything but the horrible truth. Then he heard his mother scream again. Something primal awoke in Marcus. This was the woman who had raised him alone after his father died. The woman who had worked 3 jobs to keep him in school. The woman who had gone hungry so he could eat. The woman who had sacrificed everything for his success. And someone was hurting her. In his own house. He moved toward the kitchen on silent feet, his expensive Italian shoes making no sound on the marble floor. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst from his chest. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from an anger so intense it threatened to consume him. As he approached the kitchen door, he heard Zara's voice clearly. "Maybe now you'll learn your place." Marcus stopped at the doorway, and what he saw would be burned into his memory forever. His mother, his sweet, gentle 70-year-old mother, was on the floor, her wrapper torn, her gray hair disheveled, blood on her lip, tears streaming down her face. Her body was curled in a defensive position, the position of someone who'd been beaten. And standing over her like a cruel tyrant was Zara, holding his belt, her face twisted with satisfaction. The staff stood around in horror, some crying, some with their phones out, all of them looking helpless and terrified. Time seemed to slow down. Marcus watched as Zara raised the belt again, preparing to strike his mother one more time. And that's when he moved. "Zara!" His voice exploded through the kitchen like a gunshot. Everyone jumped. Zara spun around, the belt still raised, her face flushed from exertion and rage. When she saw Marcus, the color drained from her face. The belt slipped from her fingers and hit the floor with a soft thud. Marcus," she stammered. This isn't." But Marcus wasn't looking at her. He was moving past her, dropping to his knees beside his mother. "Mama," his voice broke. "Mama, please, look at me." Mama Adana slowly uncurled herself, her tear-filled eyes meeting her son's. "My son, you came." Marcus's eyes swept over her injuries, the welts on her arms, the blood on her lip, the bruises already forming on her weathered skin. His hands shook as he gently helped her sit up. "What has she done to you?" His voice was barely a whisper, thick with emotion. Behind him, Zara had started backing toward the door. "Marcus, listen to me. She provoked me. She called me names. Shut up." Marcus didn't even turn around. "Don't say another word." The coldness in his voice made everyone shiver. Mr. Emeka quickly brought a chair, and Marcus carefully helped his mother onto it. Patience rushed forward with a clean towel and water, gently dabbing at Mama Adana's lip. "Sir," Patience said quietly, "we tried to stop her, but she threatened to have us fired. She was like a mad woman." "I know," Marcus said, still focused on his mother. "I heard everything. I was in the hallway." Zara's eyes went wide. You heard?" Finally, Marcus stood and turned to face her. The man who looked at her now was nothing like the loving boyfriend she'd manipulated for 8 months. This man's eyes were cold, hard, calculating. "I heard you beating my mother. I heard you call her names. I heard you threaten her life." His voice was measured, controlled, which somehow made it more terrifying. "But you want to know what I heard before that? When I was outside the house." Zara's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Marcus pulled out his phone and played the recording. Zara's voice filled the kitchen. "Once I'm done with him, I'll take half of everything he owns and leave him with nothing, just like I'm going to leave you with nothing." The betrayal on Marcus's face was devastating to witness. "You never loved me," he said softly. "This was all a game to you. Akon. And my mother was just collateral damage." "No, Marcus, please." "How long?" he demanded. "How long were you planning this? Since the day we met? Since the day I introduced you to my mother?" Zara started crying, but they were fake tears, desperate tears. "I did love you. I do love you. I lost my temper. You lost your humanity." Marcus cut her off. "You beat a 70-year-old woman. My mother. The woman I love more than life itself. And you think tears are going to fix this?" He walked toward her, and she instinctively backed away until she hit the wall. "I'm going to destroy you," Marcus said quietly. "Not with violence. Not with anger. but with the law, with evidence, with everything you deserve. By the time I'm done, everyone will know exactly who you are. Marcus, please. Zara fell to her knees. I'll do anything. I'll leave. I'll disappear. Just don't. Too late. In the distance, sirens began to wail. The sirens grew louder, and panic flashed across Zara's face. She scrambled to her feet, her survival instincts kicking in. You called the police? Her voice was shrill with disbelief. On me? Your girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend. Marcus corrected coldly.
And yes, you assaulted an elderly woman. That's a crime. Or did you think being beautiful would protect you from consequences? Zara's mind raced. She needed a strategy, a way out. Her eyes darted around the kitchen, landing on each staff member, calculating who might support her story. It was self-defense, she suddenly declared, pointing at Mama Adana. She attacked me first. She's been abusing me for months. Ask anyone. The staff members stared at her in disbelief. Are you serious right now? Patience said, her voice dripping with contempt. We all saw what you did. We all heard what you said. You're all lying to protect her because she's his mother. Zara's voice grew more desperate. Marcus, baby. They're all against me. They've always been against me because I'm young and beautiful and they're jealous. Marcus pulled out his phone again. Let me show you something. He opened his security app and pulled up the footage from the kitchen camera, the one Zara had forgotten existed. He pressed play. The screen showed everything. Zara grabbing the belt, advancing on Mama Adana, striking her repeatedly while the old woman begged for mercy. That camera, Marcus said, has been recording everything for the past 2 hours. Every word you said, every lie you told, every strike you made. Zara's face went white. You recorded? I record everything in my house. Standard security protocol for someone of my wealth. You would know that if you'd ever actually cared about anything other than my money. He swiped to another video, this one from the living room. It showed Zara and her friends going through his study, trying on his watches, drinking his most expensive liquor, mocking his mother. Another swipe. Another video. This one from 3 days ago. Zara on the phone in the garden. Yes, baby. I'm still with the old fool. Just a few more months until we're married. Then we can take him for everything and run away together. Hawaii is waiting for us. Marcus watched Zara's face as he played video after video, each one more damning than the last. Her lies, her schemes, her cruelty, all documented. You see, Zara, the difference between you and me is that I actually built something. I earned everything I have. You, he looked at her with disgust. You're just a thief with a pretty face. The sound of car doors slamming came from outside. Heavy footsteps approached the house. Mr. Emeka, Marcus called out calmly. Please show the police to the kitchen. No. Zara lunged toward Marcus, grabbing his arm. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't do this. My life will be ruined. Your life. Marcus looked at his mother, who was being tended to by patients. What about her life? What about the trauma you've inflicted? What about the weeks she spent being terrorized in her own son's house? I'll make it right. I'll apologize. You'll face justice, Marcus said firmly, pulling his arm away from her grasp. 2 police officers entered the kitchen, taking in the scene. The broken glass on the floor, the belt lying near Mama Adana's feet, the tear-stained faces of the staff, and Zara's obvious panic. Good afternoon, officers, Marcus said professionally. I'm Marcus Okonkwo, the owner of this residence. I called you because my girlfriend, he paused, correcting himself. My ex-girlfriend, Zara Okafor, has assaulted my 70-year-old mother. I have video evidence, audio recordings, and multiple witnesses. The senior officer, a stern-looking woman in her 40s, nodded. We'll need to take statements from everyone. Sir, can we see the victim? Marcus stepped aside, and the officers approached Mama Adana. When they saw her injuries, the welts, the blood, the bruises, their expressions hardened. Ma, what is your name? the officer asked gently.
Adana Okonkwo, Mama Adana replied weakly.
Can you tell us what happened? Before Mama Adana could speak, Zara burst out. She's lying. Whatever she says is a lie. She attacked me first. This is all a setup. They're trying to frame me. The junior officer moved to stand between Zara and the others. Madam, please calm down. You'll have your chance to give a statement. I want my lawyer, Zara shrieked. I know my rights. You can't just believe them without hearing my side. We will hear everyone's side, the senior officer said calmly. Then she turned to Marcus. Sir, you mentioned video evidence? Marcus handed her his phone. Everything is on there. Multiple angles, multiple timestamps. The assault, the threats, everything. As the officer watched the videos, her expression grew grimmer. She showed some clips to her colleague, who shook his head in disgust. Miss Okafor, the senior officer said, turning to Zara. I'm placing you under arrest for assault and battery of an elderly person. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. No! Zara screamed. You can't do this. Do you know who I am? I'm Marcus Okonkwo's fiancé. I'm about to be one of the richest women in Nigeria. You're a criminal, the officer replied flatly, pulling out handcuffs. Zara backed away, her perfectly made-up face crumbling. Marcus, tell them this is all a mistake. Tell them you love me. Marcus looked at her with cold finality. I don't love you. I don't even know you. The woman I thought I loved never existed. She was just a character you played to rob me blind. Please. Zara's voice broke into genuine sobs now. My family, my reputation, everything will be destroyed. You should have thought about that. Mama Adana spoke up, her voice weak but clear. Before you raised your hand to an old woman, the officer cuffed Zara's hands behind her back. The cold metal clicking into place sounded like the closing of a chapter. As they led her toward the door, Zara's friends, Kemi and Bunmi, tried to slip away unnoticed. Officers, Marcus called out. Those two women were here during the assault. They witnessed everything. They need to give statements. The women froze, fear written across their faces. We didn't do anything, Kemi protested. You watched, Patience said angrily. You watched her beat an old woman and you did nothing. The junior officer made notes. We'll need your contact information. Don't leave town. As the police escorted Zara out, she turned one last time to Marcus, her mascara running down her face in black rivers. I hate you, she hissed. I hate you and your pathetic mother. I hope you both rot in. That's enough, the senior officer said, guiding her firmly toward the door. The kitchen fell silent except for Mama Adana's quiet weeping. Marcus knelt beside his mother again and took her hands. It's over, Mama. She can't hurt you anymore. But they both knew the scars, physical and emotional, would take much longer to heal. Outside, neighbors had gathered, phones out, recording as Zara was put into the police car, screaming and cursing. By tomorrow, the videos would be everywhere. The perfect girlfriend's perfect mask had finally shattered, and the whole world was about to see the monster underneath. The police car pulled away from the mansion, Zara's screams still echoing in the evening air. Neighbors stood at their gates, their phones capturing every moment of the billionaire's girlfriend being hauled away in handcuffs. The videos would go viral within hours. Inside the mansion, Marcus stood in his living room, surveying the damage. Broken glasses littered the floor. His expensive liquor bottles were empty or shattered. His mother's blood was still on the kitchen tiles. His private study had been ransacked. The home he'd built as a sanctuary had been turned into a war zone. But the physical damage was nothing compared to the betrayal burning in his chest. Sir, Mr. Emeka approached cautiously. The police said they'll need you at the station tomorrow to make a formal statement. Marcus nodded, still staring at the chaos. Get me Detective Aladil's number. I want the best investigator on this case. And call my lawyer Samuel Adagok. Tell him I need him here within the hour. Yes, sir. Mr. Emeka paused, Sir, if I may say, we're all very sorry. We should have told you sooner what was happening. Marcus turned to face his loyal staff. They all stood there. Mr. Emeka, Patience, the cook, the gardener, the security guards. Their faces etched with guilt and sorrow. You were put in an impossible position, Marcus said quietly. She threatened your jobs, your livelihoods. I understand. But from now on, I need you all to promise me something. If anything happens in this house that concerns my mother's safety, you come to me immediately, even if it costs you your jobs. Do you understand? Yes, sir. They chorused, relief washing over their faces. Now, I need someone to help my mother to her room. Call Dr. Ajayi. Tell him it's an emergency. I want my mother examined tonight. Patience moved quickly. I'll take care of Mama, sir. As they helped Mama Adana up the stairs, Marcus pulled out his phone. His hands were steadier now, the initial shock replaced by cold determination. He had a plan, and he was going to execute it with surgical precision. First, he called his IT specialist. Bayo, it's Marcus. I need you at my house now. Bring your equipment. I want every piece of digital evidence backed up, all security footage, all recordings, everything. Make copies, store them in multiple locations. This is priority 1. On my way, boss. Next, he called his head of PR. Amaka, we need to meet. Tonight. I'm about to be in the middle of a scandal, and I want to control the narrative. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Then he called his bank. This is Marcus Okonkwo. Account number 00457821. I need to freeze all cards associated with Zara Okafor effective immediately. Yes, all of them. And I need a complete transaction history for the past 8 months sent to my email within the hour. The customer service representative, recognizing one of their premium clients, moved quickly. Consider it done, Mr. Okonkwo. Marcus's phone buzzed continuously. News of Zara's arrest was already spreading through Lagos's elite circles. Friends, business associates, even competitors were calling and texting. He ignored them all except for one number. Hello, Uncle Chike, Marcus said, his voice heavy. I need your advice. His mentor, a retired judge who had guided Marcus through many business and personal decisions, listened quietly as Marcus explained everything that had happened. When Marcus finished, there was a long silence. Finally, Uncle Chike spoke. My boy, what happened today is terrible, but it's also a blessing. Imagine if you had married this woman. Imagine if she had legal rights to your assets. You would have lost everything. Your wealth, your peace, possibly even your relationship with your mother. I know, Uncle, but I feel like such a fool. How did I not see it? Because love is blind, Marcus, and people like her are experts at deception. They study you, learn your weaknesses, and exploit them. You're not the first successful man to be fooled by a beautiful face, and you won't be the last. What matters now is how you respond. I want to destroy her, Marcus admitted. I want everyone to know what she did. Then do it legally. Do it properly. Document everything. Let the law handle her criminal behavior. But Marcus, Uncle Chike's voice grew stern. Don't let this make you bitter. Don't let her poison your ability to trust again. That would mean she's won. Marcus swallowed hard. I'll try, Uncle. And Marcus, go check on your mother. She needs you now more than she needs revenge. Marcus ended the call and stood there for a moment, letting his uncle's wisdom sink in. Then he climbed the stairs to his mother's room. Dr. Ajayi was already there, examining Mama Adana's injuries. The doctor, a family friend of 30 years, looked up at Marcus with barely concealed anger. Marcus, these injuries. This is serious assault. She is bruising on her back, arms, and face. Her blood pressure is dangerously high. She's traumatized. If she were any frilier, this could have been much worse. Will she be okay? Physically, yes, with rest and care. Emotionally, Dr. Ajayi shook his head. That will take much longer. She needs support, possibly counseling. This kind of abuse leaves deep scars. Marcus moved to his mother's bedside. She looked so small, so fragile in the large bed. Her eyes were closed, but he could tell she wasn't sleeping. "Mama," he whispered, taking her hand. Her eyes opened, and when she saw her son, tears began to fall again. "I'm so sorry, my son. I brought shame to your house." "What?" Marcus was shocked. "Mama, you didn't bring shame. Seichi did. You are the victim here. But people will talk. They'll say I couldn't get along with your girlfriend, that I was jealous, that I caused trouble." "Let them talk," Marcus said firmly. "Anyone who knows you will know the truth, and those who don't, their opinions don't matter." He squeezed her hand gently. "Mama, I should have listened to you from the beginning. You saw what I refused to see. You tried to protect me, and instead, I left you defenseless. That is my shame, not yours. You loved her, my son. Love makes us blind." "Not anymore," Marcus said, his jaw set. "Never again." By 10 p.m. that night, Marcus's living room had become a war room. His lawyer, Samuel Adagoke, sat at the dining table with stacks of documents. Bayo, the IT specialist, had set up 3 laptops downloading and backing up footage. Amaka, his PR director, was already drafting statements. Uncle Chike had arrived too, offering moral support. "All right," Samuel said, adjusting his glasses. "Let's go through what we have." Marcus pulled up a chair, his exhaustion evident but his resolve unshaken. "Everything. I want to hit her with everything." Samuel nodded. "Criminal charges first. Assault and battery of an elderly person, which carries a maximum of 7 years in Lagos State. We also have elder abuse, which can add another 3 years. The video evidence is damning. No jury will side with her." "What about the financial crimes?" Marcus asked. Bayo pulled up a spreadsheet on his laptop. "Boss, you're not going to believe this. In 8 months, she spent 127 million Nigerian nairas of your money." The room went silent. "What?" Marcus leaned forward. "How is that even possible? Luxury shopping, designer clothes, jewelry, spa treatments, expensive restaurants. But here's the interesting part." Bayo highlighted several transactions. She was sending money to 3 different accounts. 2 are in her name, but 1 belongs to someone named Deo Adelik. Marcus frowned. "Who is that?" "I did some digging," Bayo continued. "Deo Adelik is her real boyfriend. They've been together for 5 years. He lives in a penthouse in Ikoyi, a penthouse that Zara has been paying for with your money." The betrayal cut deeper. Marcus had known she was using him, but to learn there was another man, that their entire relationship was a carefully orchestrated con, it was almost too much to process. "So I was never her boyfriend," Marcus said quietly. "I was just her ATM machine." "I'm afraid so," Samuel said sympathetically. "But this actually works in our favor. This proves premeditation, fraud, and embezzlement. We can go after her for every kobo." Amaka cleared her throat. "Marcus, we need to talk about the public relations angle. Videos of Zara's arrest are already circulating on social media. The narrative right now is sympathetic to you, but that can change quickly. We need to get ahead of it." "How?" "A statement. Clear, concise, factual. We acknowledge what happened, express concern for your mother's welfare, and affirm your commitment to pursuing justice through proper legal channels. We don't attack Zara directly. We let the evidence speak for itself." "What about Zara's side?" Marcus asked. "Won't she try to spin this?" "She will," Amaka confirmed. "Her PR team will probably claim you're a controlling billionaire who's punishing her for standing up to you. They might even try to paint your mother as the aggressor. But with the video evidence, it won't work. The court of public opinion might debate, but the actual court will see the truth." Samuel pulled out another document. "I've already filed a restraining order against Zara. She can't contact you, your mother, or anyone in your household. Violation means immediate arrest. I'm also freezing her access to any joint accounts or properties." "We didn't have joint accounts," Marcus said. "Actually, you did," Samuel replied grimly. "She had you sign some documents 3 months ago. Papers, she said, were for a charity foundation you were supporting. Marcus's eyes widened as the memory surfaced. The Children's Education Fund was actually paperwork adding her to several of your accounts as a cosigner. You didn't read the fine print, did you? Marcus felt sick. I trusted her. That's what she counted on, Uncle Chike said, speaking for the first time. These predators are professionals. They know exactly how to exploit successful men. The fancy dinners, the sexual attention, the way they make you feel like a king. It's all calculated. Bayo pulled up another screen. Boss, there's more. I found her social media messages. She was part of a group chat called Rich Man Hunters. 12 women, all targeting wealthy men. They shared strategies, celebrated their catches, and even gave each other advice on how to maximize their take. He turned the laptop so everyone could see. The messages were disgusting. Zara. Just got him to buy me a Range Rover. These men are so stupid when you know how to stroke their egos, lol. Chemi girl. Girl. Teach me your ways. How much have you gotten from him total? Zara. About 130 million so far. Planning to get at least 500 million before the wedding. Then divorce him and split everything with my real man. Toyin baby. What about his mom? I heard she lives with you guys. Zara. That old hag? Can't wait to dump her in a nursing home. She's so annoying with her traditional nonsense. But I just smile and play nice when he's around. The messages went on and on. Mocking Marcus's generosity, laughing at his mother's traditional values, celebrating every expensive gift as a victory. Marcus stood up abruptly and walked to the window. His hands clenched into fists. The anger was overwhelming, but beneath it was profound humiliation. I want all of that submitted as evidence, he said without turning around. Every message, every transaction, every lie. I want the world to see exactly who she is. Consider it done, Samuel said. Amaka stood up. Marcus, I know you're hurting, but we need to be strategic. If we release everything at once, it becomes a circus. Let the criminal case proceed first. Let her be convicted. Then, when she tries to rehabilitate her image, we release the financial evidence. That way, she can't claim she's been unfairly targeted. Marcus turned back to face them. How long will this take? The criminal trial? Probably 6 months to a year. But she'll be arraigned within 48 hours. With the video evidence and her violent outburst in front of police officers, the judge will likely deny bail. Good, Marcus said coldly. I want her to sit in a cell and think about what she's done. I want her to realize that actions have consequences. Uncle Chike stood and placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. Justice will be served, my boy. But don't let revenge consume you. Your mother needs you healthy and whole, not bitter and broken. Marcus nodded, but inside he wasn't sure he could ever trust anyone again. The woman he'd loved had been a complete fabrication, and the scars from that betrayal would last far longer than his mother's physical wounds. The next morning, Lagos woke up to the biggest scandal in months. Every major newspaper, blog, and social media platform had the story. Billionaire's girlfriend arrested for beating his elderly mother. The videos from neighbors and staff had spread like wildfire. By sunrise, #Justice for Mama Dana was trending nationwide. People were outraged, horrified, and endlessly fascinated by the story. Marcus's phone hadn't stopped ringing. He ignored most calls, but some he had to take. Business partners wanting to distance themselves from the drama, friends offering support, and even some women he barely knew trying to slide into his DMs with messages like, I would never treat your mother like that. He was disgusted by it all. At 9 a.m., he arrived at the police station for his formal statement, accompanied by Samuel. The media was already camped outside, cameras flashing as his convoy pulled in. Mr. Okonkwo, how is your mother? Will you press charges? Is it true your girlfriend stole millions from you? Marcus said nothing, walking past them with his head high and his expression neutral. Samuel had coached him. Appear strong but not vengeful, hurt but not broken. Inside, Detective Aladil, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s with a reputation for thorough investigations, greeted them. Mr. Okonkwo, Thank you for coming in. I've reviewed all the evidence you submitted. I have to say, in my 25 years as a detective, I've rarely seen a case with such overwhelming evidence. Will she be granted bail? Marcus asked. We're opposing it, Detective Aladil said. Given the severity of the assault, the video evidence, and the fact that she's a flight risk with access to significant funds, or rather, she had access, we believe she should remain in custody until trial. When is the arraignment? This afternoon, 2 p.m. The media will be there, so prepare yourself. Marcus gave his statement, recounting everything he'd witnessed and heard. Samuel submitted all the video evidence, the financial records, the screenshots from Zara's group chat, and statements from the household staff. By the time they finished, it was almost noon. One more thing, Detective Aladil said as they were leaving. We've opened a secondary investigation into Zara Okafor's boyfriend, Deo Adelik. The money laundering and fraud charges might extend to him as well. He's been living off your money for months. Marcus felt a grim satisfaction. Good. I want everyone involved held accountable. At 2 p.m., the courtroom was packed. Media, curious onlookers, and even some of Lagos's elite had come to witness the arraignment. Marcus sat in the front row with his lawyer, his face an impassive mask. When Zara was brought in, gasps rippled through the courtroom. Gone was the glamorous, perfectly made-up woman. Her hair was disheveled, her expensive clothes replaced with a plain detention jumpsuit, her face puffy and tear-stained. She looked small, defeated, nothing like the confident woman who'd terrorized his mother just 24 hours ago. Her eyes found Marcus in the crowd. She mouthed something, "Please," but he looked away. The judge, a stern older man named Justice Adebayo, read the charges. Zara Okafor, you are charged with assault and battery of an elderly person, elder abuse, fraud, and embezzlement. How do you plead? Zara's public defender, a tired-looking young man who'd clearly been assigned the case at the last minute, whispered to her. Not guilty, Your Honor, Zara said, her voice barely audible. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Mrs. Okonkwo, no relation to Marcus, stood up. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that the defendant be held without bail. She is a flight risk with access to significant financial resources, and the evidence against her is substantial. We have video footage, multiple witnesses, and physical evidence of the assault. Zara's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client is a young woman with no prior criminal record. She has ties to the community and she beat a 70-year-old woman with a belt. Justice Adebayo interrupted, his voice sharp. I've seen the video footage, Counselor. It's one of the most disturbing things I've witnessed in my career. Bail is denied. Trial date is set for 3 months from today. Next case. The gavel came down with finality. Zara's face crumpled. No. Please. You can't do this to me. As the guards moved to take her back to holding, she turned to Marcus one last time, her voice rising to a scream. Marcus! Please. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Don't let them do this to me. Marcus. He didn't even blink. As she was dragged away, still screaming, Marcus stood and walked out of the courtroom. The media swarmed him, but Samuel and his security team created a buffer. Outside, one reporter managed to get close enough to shout a question. Mr. Okonkwo, do you have anything to say to young women who might be in similar situations? Marcus stopped. He hadn't planned to make a statement, but something in him shifted. He turned to face the cameras. Respect for elders is not optional. It's fundamental. My mother sacrificed everything for me, and anyone who would harm her, regardless of their relationship to me, will face the full force of the law. This is not about revenge. This is about justice. And I hope this sends a clear message. Wealth and status don't protect you from consequences when you choose cruelty over kindness. Then he got into his car and left, leaving the media to dissect his words. By evening, his statement had been viewed millions of times. The hashtag respect your elders was now trending alongside hashtag justice for Mama Adana. And in her cell, Zara finally understood that the game was over. She had lost everything. and Marcus Okonkwo had won. 3 weeks had passed since Zara's arrest, and the mansion felt different. The oppressive atmosphere that had hung over the house like a dark cloud had lifted, replaced by something Marcus hadn't felt in months. Peace. He'd taken a month off work, delegating his responsibilities to trusted executives. For the first time in his career, business wasn't his priority. His mother was. Marcus sat in the private room of Lagos's most prestigious hospital, watching as Dr. Ajayi examined Mama Adana. The physical wounds had healed, the bruises faded, the cuts closed, but Marcus knew the emotional scars ran deeper. "Her vitals are good," Dr. Ajayi said, smiling at his patient. "Blood pressure is back to normal. The physiotherapy is helping with the stiffness from the injuries. Physically, Mama, you're healing beautifully. Thank God," Mama Adana said softly, adjusting her headscarf. However, the doctor continued, his expression growing serious. "I still recommend you continue with Dr. Adeyemi, the trauma counselor. These things take time to process."
Mama Adana nodded reluctantly.
She'd been resistant to therapy at first. "I'm not crazy," she'd insisted. But after her first session with Dr. Adeyemi, a kind woman in her 60s who specialized in elder abuse, she'd softened. After the doctor left, Marcus pulled his chair closer to his mother's bedside. "Mama, there's something I need to say. Something I should have said months ago." Mama Adana looked at her son, concern creasing her brow. "What is it, my child?"
I'm sorry.
His voice cracked slightly. "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I'm sorry I dismissed your warnings. I'm sorry I let that woman into our home and into our lives. Most of all, I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect you when you needed me most." Tears welled up in Mama Adana's eyes. "Marcus, no, please let me finish." He took both her hands in his. "You worked 3 jobs to raise me. You went without so I could have. You sacrificed your youth, your health, your happiness to give me opportunities. And when you needed me to believe in you, to trust your judgment, I failed you. I chose a woman I'd known for 8 months over the woman who'd loved me for 32 years. A tear rolled down his cheek. Marcus Okonkwo, the billionaire who'd negotiated with presidents and CEOs without flinching, wept openly before his mother. "I thought I was so smart, Mama. I built a business empire. I made millions of dollars. But I couldn't see what was right in front of me. You saw her clearly from day one, and I was too arrogant to listen." Mama Adana reached up and wiped her son's tears. "My son, you are human. Humans make mistakes. What matters is that when the time came, you did the right thing. You protected me. You believed me. You fought for me. But you shouldn't have had to suffer first. Listen to me." Mama Adana's voice grew stronger. "That woman was evil, yes. But she taught you something valuable. She taught you that money doesn't buy loyalty. Beauty doesn't equal character. And love, real love, is proven through actions, not words." Marcus listened, his heart aching with gratitude for this woman's endless grace. "Do you know what I prayed for during those months?" Mama Adana continued. "I prayed that God would open your eyes before it was too late, before you married her, before she had legal rights to everything you'd built. My prayers were answered, my son. Yes, I suffered, but you were saved from a lifetime of suffering." Marcus had never thought of it that way. His mother had taken the pain so he wouldn't have to endure years of a destructive marriage. "You're too good for this world, Mama." She smiled, that warm smile that had comforted him through every childhood fear and adult crisis. "I'm just a mother who loves her son. Now, enough tears. Tell me, how is the business? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you eating properly?" Marcus laughed through his tears. Even in a hospital bed, recovering from assault, his mother's priority was still his well-being. "The business is fine. Chitty is handling everything. And yes, I'm eating, though not as well as when you cook. Then when I get out of here, I'll make your favorite yam porridge." "Mama, you don't have to." "I want to," she insisted. "Cooking for you brings me joy. That woman tried to take that joy from me, but she failed. I won't let her steal anything else." Marcus saw the strength in his mother's eyes and realized something profound. Zara hadn't broken her. Mama Adana had survived poverty, widowhood, single motherhood, and now abuse, and she was still standing, still loving, still hoping. She was the strongest person he'd ever known. "There's something else, Mama," Marcus said, pulling out his phone. "The trial is scheduled for next month. The prosecutor says with all the evidence, Zara will likely get 7 to 10 years. Mama Adana was quiet for a moment. "And how do you feel about that?" "Honestly, I feel nothing.
No satisfaction. No anger.
Just emptiness. I thought revenge would feel better." "That's because revenge is not the same as justice," Mama Adana said wisely. "Justice is necessary. She must face consequences for her actions. But revenge would consume you, make you bitter. Don't let her steal your peace, my son. She's taken enough." Marcus squeezed her hand. "When did you become so wise?" "I've always been wise," she teased. "You were just too busy to notice." They both laughed, and in that moment, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. The road to full healing would be long, but they were walking it together. And that made all the difference. 2 months later, life had begun to resemble normalcy again, though it was a different kind of normal, better, more intentional, more authentic. Marcus stood in his redesigned office at Okonkwo Towers, looking out at the Lagos skyline. He'd made significant changes to both his business and personal life. The mansion had been redecorated. Every room Zara had touched was renovated, cleansed of her presence. He'd also restructured his inner circle, keeping only those who'd proven their loyalty. Mr. Emeka had been promoted to estate manager with a substantial raise. Patience was now head of household staff. Every staff member who'd stood by his mother received bonuses and his eternal gratitude. But the biggest change was in how Marcus approached relationships. "Sir, your 3 p.m. appointment is here," Chitty announced from the doorway. "Send them in." 3 women entered, his new security consultants. After the Zara incident, Marcus had hired a team specializing in protecting high-net-worth individuals from predatory relationships, fraud, and social engineering. Mr. Okonkwo, the lead consultant, Mrs. Adabizi, began. "We've completed our assessment of your current security protocols. We recommend implementing background checks for anyone entering your inner circle, regular audits of financial transactions, and most importantly, psychological profiling services." "Psychological profiling?" Marcus asked. "Yes, people like Miss Okafor exhibit certain behavioral patterns, excessive flattery, rapid relationship escalation, isolation tactics, financial manipulation. If we'd profiled her in the first month, we would have flagged at least 15 concerning behaviors." Marcus felt a pang of regret, but he pushed it aside. "Implement everything. I never want to be blindsided again." After the consultants left, Marcus reviewed his afternoon schedule. He'd been slowly returning to work, but with better balance. He now had dinner with his mother every evening, no exceptions. He'd started a foundation called Protect Our Elders that provided resources for elderly abuse victims, and he'd become more selective about who he allowed into his life. His phone buzzed, a message from Uncle Chike. "Don't forget tomorrow's charity event. And Marcus, it's time to start living again. You're healed enough to rejoin the world." Marcus smiled. Uncle Chike was right. He'd spent 2 months in recovery mode, but life had to continue. The next evening, Marcus attended a fundraiser for children's education, a cause close to his heart. He moved through the room with practiced ease, shaking hands, making small talk, writing checks. Then he saw her. She stood near the silent auction table, examining items with genuine interest rather than calculating their value. She wore a simple but elegant navy dress, her natural hair styled in a neat updo. She was beautiful, but it was a different kind of beauty, understated, authentic, unpretentious. What caught Marcus's attention most was what happened next. An elderly woman dropped her purse, and this woman immediately bent down to help, gathering the scattered items with patience and care. She then spent several minutes talking with the elderly woman, laughing at something she said, treating her with warmth and respect. "Who is that?" Marcus asked Uncle Chike, who'd appeared at his elbow. Uncle Chike smiled knowingly. That's Dr. Amara Obi. She's a professor of African studies at the university. She also volunteers at elderly care homes every weekend. Her grandmother raised her, so she has a special place in her heart for seniors. Marcus watched as Dr. Obi helped the elderly woman to a chair, then brought her a glass of water without being asked. She's single, by the way, Uncle Chike added casually, focused on her career and her charity work. Not interested in the Lagos social scene. I wasn't asking because… Of course not, Uncle Chike said with a grin. But just in case you were curious. Marcus found himself walking toward her, drawn by something he couldn't quite name. As he approached, Dr. Obi looked up and their eyes met. Hello, Marcus said, extending his hand.
I'm Marcus Okonkwo.
I know who you are, Mr. Okonkwo, she replied with a warm but not overeager smile. Your foundation's work is impressive. The scholarship program you started is changing lives. Thank you. And you're Dr. Obi. Amara is fine. Are you interested in African history? Or are you here for the children's literacy program? Both, actually. I believe education is the foundation of everything. They talked for 20 minutes about education, culture, social responsibility, and the importance of preserving traditional values while embracing progress. Marcus found himself genuinely engaged. Not performing, not being charmed, just connecting. I should let you get back to your event, Amara said eventually. But it was lovely talking with you, Marcus. Would you like to have coffee sometime? I'd love to hear more about your work at the university. She studied him for a moment, and Marcus saw intelligence and caution in her eyes. I'll be honest with you. I know about what happened with your ex-girlfriend. I'm sorry you went through that. Marcus appreciated her directness. Thank you. It was educational. I'm sure it was, which is why I'm going to say yes to coffee. But with a condition, we take things very slowly. I'm not interested in being anyone's rebound or publicity recovery story. Marcus laughed. A genuine, surprised laugh. Fair enough. Slow is exactly what I need. She smiled and handed him her card. Call me next week. We'll find a quiet place away from cameras. As she walked away, Marcus felt something unexpected. Genuine interest without desperation. Attraction without obsession. Hope without naivety. Uncle Chike reappeared. Well, I think, Marcus said slowly, I just met someone real. Good. Your mother will like her. Amara visits the elderly care home where Mama volunteers now. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. Mama didn't mention that. Your mother has become quite strategic in her old age. Uncle Chike chuckled. Where do you think I got the information about Dr. Obi? Marcus shook his head, amazed. His mother was matchmaking, but in the most subtle, wise way possible. 6 months later, Marcus stood on a stage in front of 500 people at the Respect Our Elders Gala, the inaugural event for his new foundation. The ballroom of Lagos's most prestigious hotel was packed with dignitaries, celebrities, business leaders, and elderly citizens who'd been honored for their contributions to society. But the most important person in the room sat in the front row. Mama Adana, dressed in beautiful traditional attire, her face glowing with pride. Beside her sat Amara, who'd become a constant presence in their lives over the past months. She and Mama Adana had bonded immediately, sharing recipes, stories, and laughter. Amara treated his mother with genuine respect and affection. Not as an obligation, but as a joy. Marcus had learned to take things slowly. He and Amara had been on dozens of dates, had long conversations about values and goals, and had involved both their families in the relationship. There was no rushing, no pressure, no pretending. Just honest, steady growth. Good evening, everyone, Marcus began, his voice strong and clear. 6 months ago, I stood in my kitchen and watched my mother being beaten by someone I thought I loved. That moment changed my life forever. The room was silent, every eye on him. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but to shed light on a crisis we don't talk about enough. Elder abuse. In Nigeria alone, thousands of elderly people suffer abuse. Physical, emotional, and financial, often at the hands of family members or caregivers. Many suffer in silence because of shame, fear, or lack of resources. He paused, looking at his mother. She nodded encouragingly. My mother, Mama Adana Okonkwo, is a survivor. She raised me alone after my father died. She worked 3 jobs. She went without food so I could eat. She sacrificed her entire life for mine. And when she needed me most, I almost failed her. His voice grew emotional, but he continued. But she didn't fail me. She never has. And that's why I'm standing here today to launch the Protect Our Elders Foundation. We will provide legal support, counseling, safe houses, and advocacy for elderly abuse victims. We will train healthcare workers and social workers to recognize signs of abuse. And we will create a cultural shift in how we treat our elderly. The room erupted in applause. When it quieted, Marcus continued, I've learned some hard lessons these past months. I learned that wealth means nothing if you can't protect the ones who raised you. I learned that success without character is just an expensive failure. I learned that the people who truly love you will tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it. He looked directly at his mother now, his eyes glistening. Mama, you tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. You suffered because of my blindness. But you never stopped loving me. You never stopped believing in me. And you taught me the most important lesson of all. Real love is proven through sacrifice, not words. Mama Adana was crying now, as were many in the audience. So tonight, I'm making a promise. Not just to my mother, but to every elderly person in this country. Your voices matter. Your dignity matters. Your safety matters. And anyone who raises their hand to an elder will face consequences. He paused, letting his words sink in. Respect is not optional. It's foundational. The elders in our communities are living libraries, walking history books, sources of wisdom we desperately need. To abuse them is to betray not just individuals, but our entire society. The applause was thunderous now. Marcus raised his hand for quiet. I want to invite my mother to say a few words. Mama Adana stood, and with Amara's gentle assistance, made her way to the stage. The audience rose in a standing ovation. She stood beside her son, small but mighty, and spoke into the microphone. My name is Adana Okonkwo, and I am a survivor. Her voice was soft but clear. What happened to me was terrible, but it has given me a purpose. I will use my pain to help others. To every elder who is suffering in silence, speak up. Tell someone. You deserve dignity. You deserve respect. And you are not alone. She turned to Marcus. And to my son, I forgive you for not listening sooner. Your heart was good even when your judgment was clouded. You are a good man, and I am proud to be your mother. Marcus embraced her as the crowd erupted again. Cameras flashed. People wiped tears. It was a moment of healing not just for them, but for everyone who'd been touched by similar pain. As they left the stage together, hand in hand, Marcus looked out at the audience and saw the impact of their story. People were taking out their phones, not to gossip, but to share the foundation's information. Pledges and donations were flooding in. Good was emerging from evil. Healing was emerging from hurt. And hope was emerging from heartbreak. Later that night, as Marcus drove his mother home with Amara in the passenger seat, Mama Adana spoke from the back seat. My son, you've built something beautiful from something ugly. That is the mark of true character. I learned from the best, Mama. And you, Mama Adana addressed Amara, you are a good woman. You respect tradition while embracing progress. You honor elders while empowering youth. You are the kind of daughter I prayed for. Amara turned to smile at her. And you are the kind of mother-in-law any woman would be blessed to have. Marcus's heart swelled. There was no manipulation here, no pretense, no hidden agendas. Just authentic love, mutual respect, and genuine care. As they pulled into the mansion's driveway, Marcus reflected on the journey. 6 months ago, his world had shattered. His heart had been broken. His trust had been destroyed. But from those ashes, something new had grown. wisdom, discernment, stronger bonds, and a purpose larger than himself. Zara was serving her sentence, 7 years for assault and elder abuse, with additional charges for fraud pending. Her accomplice, Deo, had been arrested and was facing similar charges. Her rich man hunters group had been exposed, and several other women were under investigation. Justice had been served, but more importantly, healing had begun. As Marcus helped his mother out of the car, she looked up at the mansion, the place where she'd suffered but also where she'd triumphed. "This is our home again," she said softly. "It feels clean now." "Yes, Mama," Marcus agreed. "It's our home, and it always will be." He looked at Amara, who was looking at both of them with warmth and understanding, and he felt gratitude wash over him. The nightmare was over, the future was bright, and the lesson was clear. Wealth means nothing if you can't protect the ones who raised you. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales of love, betrayal, redemption, and justice. Hit the like button and share this story with someone who needs to hear this message. Drop a comment below telling us what you learned from Marcus and Mama Adana's journey. Remember, respect your elders, protect the vulnerable, and never let anyone abuse those you love. See you in the next story.